Hello and welcome. You're watching India This Morning. My name is Apurva Sridhar. We have lots lined up for you in this bulletin. But first up, let's take a look at the top headlines. Crucial diplomatic meet for India as Prime Minister Modi attends BRICS summit today. Bilateral talks with Chinese Premier possible.
मैं पीयूष वेद प्रकाश गोयल ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा.
After a major rejig of the Modi's cabinet, 13 ministers take oath. Nirmala Sitharaman gets Defence Ministry. Piyush Goyal gets Railways. Yet another case of medical apathy from Uttar Pradesh. Government doctor turns away a child with severe burns after Gorakhpur. Now it's Bulandshahr, reflecting the true state of Uttar Pradesh medical case. 9-month-old child allegedly dies due to lack of oxygen at a government hospital in Vadodara. The family members accuse hospital and the doctor for the negligence. In Delhi's Harsh Vihar area, a 40-year-old pervert accused of killing 8 minors nabbed for allegedly sexually assaulting and killing a 6-year-old boy. North Korea carries out its 6th and most powerful nuclear test till date. US President Donald Trump and ally China condemned this move. Virat Kohli's acumen in captaincy and batsmanship gifts a thumping 6-wicket victory to India in the final ODI of the series against Sri Lanka. Once again, it's a Kohli masterclass. BCCI's massive windfall as it auctions IPL media rights today. Big names like Amazon, Yahoo, Facebook in the fray. Well, straight up to a top focus story this morning. Just a few days after Mumbai was flooded, Bengaluru comes to a standstill as heavy rains lashed the city. Heavy downpour led to flooding of several parts of the city, with water gushing into houses in low-lying areas of Koramangala, HSR layout and other places. In fact, the city has drowned with a rainfall of just 6 centimeters. Though located around 100 meters above sea level, the city is still struggling to drain off the excess water. In fact, Imran is joining me live with more details on this. Imran, what is the current situation on ground? We understand that most part of the city, especially areas like Koramangala and other areas, have been flooded. Which are the areas that have been massively affected right now?
Well, most of the low-lying areas in Bengaluru, especially the posh Koramangala, Marathahalli, HSR layout, which is very connected to a lot of the techies work in this area, reside in these areas, are inundated with water. Let me show you. I am in Koramangala 4th block. Just a small spell of rain yesterday's night. This is the situation what you're seeing here. Clearly, water has entered entire the area, premises here. Water somewhat has receded, but there's a huge sludge in this area, which is still affecting the problem. What the local residents are saying, questioning is this is a situation happening for almost 7 to 8 years. And yes, last year the government went on a massive projects to say that they will clear out the water, they'll clear stormwater drains so that locals don't have to face this situation. But what we're seeing here clearly is, you can see the sludge is there, water has receded, but you can see water still in the houses. There needs to be drained out this water, but locals are still facing the problem. Let me go across to the local resident and get to him. Sir, last year the government promised a lot, said a lot of steps have been initiated. Why is the situation remain the same? Have you contacted the local councillor?
I've been contacting the councillor, the MLA, and the regular meetings have been happening. And I don't know, the so-called engineers from the corporation, what are they for? I really don't know. They come and see and have their own solutions, but we are facing this problem from 8 years, and we are having sleepless nights from the past 10 to 15 days. We have small babies around here and some communicable diseases. They get into some problems, and I don't know who will be held responsible for this. It's a pathetic situation situation out here. Please, can someone help us here? That is my only request here.
Let me show you close what are the kind of problems they're facing. Not only just the water is entering these areas, many of their equipments, electronic equipments and the daily usable goods are also perished here. You can see here residents have thrown out what their good TVs, fridge, refrigerators, all these things because of the water which entered their areas and they no longer are usable now. Not only, even though the water receded, but they have to face this sludge. And this is an everyday problem because many of the residents here who store water, the sludge has entered the drinking water and they have to buy the water every day from outside and they have to call somebody to drain the water out. Even though the BBMP workers are here, they're clearing the sludge, but short spell of rain, the situation remains to where it was before.
Right, Imran, but also as you're pointing out, the kind of situation on ground is absolutely shocking considering it is just 6 centimeters of water that the city has faced, and this is the present condition. What is the BBMP really doing at this point in time? This was something that should have been done long back so that the city is really prepared to tackle the rains, but clearly it seems that the state administration has not really done enough to be absolutely rain ready.
Well, absolutely. To begin the problem, to first the solution, the BBMP blames the residents for building the area, their houses in this area because it's a low-lying area. And they say that there's a problem, needs to be long-term solution for it. Last year, BBMP came up with a solution. The stormwater drains have to be done. And then they have to remove especially the lakes which are there, which were illegal construction had come up on these areas. They were demolished, but the problem is remaining the same. Yesterday, BBMP Commissioner gave a press conference and said that they're doing what best they can, but it'll take some more time. This is what the question local residents are asking. Last year it was the same situation. The government promised the same, that they will solve the issue within a year, but the problem remains the same. Now the question is what is the government doing now? They said they're giving 3,000 crore rupees for the development of the Bangalore city, and they said the earmark budget, especially for areas like this, the low-lying areas like the Koramangala, HSR layout, Marathalli and other areas, but still money is being spent, but there's no actionable. You can see the situation here. It continues to remain the same.
Right, thank you so much, Imran, for getting us all those details on the kind of situation that is prevalent in Bengaluru with just 6 centimeters of water there. The entire city has come to a standstill, and this after many areas like Koramangala and other low-lying areas have been absolutely inundated, causing a lot of problems for the citizens of Bengaluru. That's some breaking news there coming in this morning. There is absolutely no end to medical apathy in Uttar Pradesh. 49 children died in a Farrukhabad hospital in the month of August due to lack of oxygen. FIR has been filed against the chief medical officer. Well, that is, of course, the latest. It, of course, seems like a rerun of the Gorakhpur massacre again. And this time around, it is Farrukhabad, where 49 children have died in a hospital in the month of August, allegedly due to lack of oxygen. And with that, the FIR has already been filed against the chief medical officer. But this is the kind of medical apathy that is coming to light from the state of Uttar Pradesh. Started with Gorakhpur, where we saw at least 60 children losing their lives because of lack of oxygen on 11th of August, and now we're seeing how in another hospital in Uttar Pradesh, specifically in the Farrukhabad district, another case coming to light with 49 children dying in a hospital in Farrukhabad in the month of August due to lack of oxygen. Clearly, the state government there has a lot to answer regarding the kind of medical apathy that is coming to light from the state of Uttar Pradesh. Well, the hospital horrors clearly does not stop here in the state of Uttar Pradesh. In Bulandshahr, doctors refuse to treat a child with burn injuries. The father of the child is asked to wash the injuries himself. In Gujarat's Vadodara, a 9-month-old child allegedly dies due to lack of oxygen at a government hospital. India's healthcare crisis continues to claim lives, the most affected women, children and the poor people. Well, let's take you towards the first shocking case of medical apathy coming out from Uttar Pradesh's Bulandshahr area, where the doctors refused to treat a child with burn injuries. In the visuals, one can see the family helplessly running around the hospital premises unattended by the hospital staff. What's even more shocking is the fact that the father of this child is asked to wash the injuries by himself. The incident pointing towards the unfortunate state of medical care in Uttar Pradesh.
A wailing child, several burns on his back. But the doctor, standing just feet away, looks on uncaring. It's yet another case of medical apathy from Uttar Pradesh, the state which recently witnessed the death of hundreds of children due to a lack of oxygen at a government-run BRE hospital. A child with burn injuries was rushed to the district hospital in Bulandshahr, but the doctor turned him away, asking the family to first clean his wounds themselves.
हम डॉक्टर के पास उन्होंने बच्चे ले गए, उन्होंने कहा कि इस पे कोड लग रहा है, तो पहले बच्चों को धोकर लेकर बाहर टंकी पे जाके बाहर। तो हम धोकर फिर डॉक्टर को बच्चों के पास में लेके अपने फिर उसका ट्रीटमेंट देखनी, वो पहले उन्होंने धुलवाया बच्चों को, धुई नहीं दी उन्होंने, फिर हमने अपना कपड़ा जो हमारे पास था उससे पहुँच देते हम।
Despite the proof being caught on camera, the doctor was brazen.
हमने साफ किया ना यहाँ पे, हमने यहाँ पे साफ किया था, कैमरे में है हमारे यहाँ पे, साफ करवा के हमने सिल्वर एक्स लगवा दिए, ठीक है। आपने उनको टंकी पे बाहर नहीं भेजा धोने के लिए? नहीं, हमने नहीं भेजा।
This is the same hospital where in 2012, sweepers were found administering stitches to patients. The government might have changed, but the apathy continues unabated. Can Yogi Adityanath ensure that the Chalta Hai attitude ends?
Let's go across to Amir, who's joining me live with more details on this shocking apathy they're coming to light. Amir, first of all, any word they're coming in from the state administration, as we can see the kind of medical negligence and apathy they're coming to light. A child with burn injuries has been asked to first being washed by the family members rather than being treated, while the family helplessly goes around the hospital premises unattended while the child suffers in the hands of the doctor.
Well, yes, but surprisingly, there has been no action against the erring doctor by the chief medical officer there or by the local administration in Bulandshahr, because so far the parents of the children hasn't actually given out a formal complaint. You know, it's surprising and shocking because it's absolutely clear in the visuals that the doctor has been very negligent as far as performing his duty is concerned. He, in fact, himself asked the parents of that young child, he's only about 18 months old, to wash off his wounds outside the hospital using a public tap. So clearly negligence on part of the doctor is established, but the chief medical officer, the medical superintendent of the hospital, they actually haven't really taken any action. Neither have they taken a suo moto action against the doctor or made a police complaint against him. It's surprising because these poor patients who turn up at these government medical facilities are not actually expected to go forward and rally against these doctors if they actually have complaint against them. And perhaps it should be the chief medical officer, the other administration of the hospital, that should actually come forward and take action or at least institute an inquiry over what has happened. But surprisingly, in this case, everybody seems to be waiting for a formal complaint to be lodged by the parents of the child there before they actually spring into action.
Right, Amir, but that, of course, is a very shocking situation there on ground as far as the healthcare crisis in the state of Uttar Pradesh is concerned. In fact, another news that's coming in from Farrukhabad, the hospital there, where at least 49 children have died due to lack of oxygen. And this is again another rerun of what happened in Gorakhpur. How are no lessons being learnt at all?
Well, you're right, absolutely. And this is the third incident in a row over the last several days that we've reported. The BRD Medical College in two instances between 11th and 12th of August, and now again between 27th and 28th of August, number of children actually lost their lives. In fact, over 400 children actually perished there in the BRD Medical College in Gorakhpur over the last 1 month in August itself. And now we have these incidents being reported from that government district hospital in Bulandshahr, and now the Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital in Farrukhabad. Remember, this again is a government-run health facility, and over the last 1 month, 49 children have actually lost their lives because of lack of oxygen. And this is something which gets established by the report having been furnished by the Chief Medical Superintendent and Chief Medical Officer of the hospital itself. So this is nothing that is a figment of anybody else's imagination. This is something that government doctors belonging to that very hospital actually acknowledge in their report. But also to be highlighted is the fact that these doctors and these senior functionaries within the district, within the Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital in Farrukhabad have actually been so shameless that over the last 1.5 months or so, the district magistrate had twice asked them to conduct an inquiry and requisition the number of children who have actually died because of lack of oxygen there in the RML hospital. But these senior functionaries, the CMO and CMS, did not budge. It was finally the district magistrate who actually kind of took initiative and gave the inquiry over to the city magistrate, who finally in his inquiry found out that about 49 children, 30 out of them died in the neonatal ICUs, and 19 of them were actually died in the process of delivery. So clearly also this report establishes that although there was no dearth of oxygen cylinders out there, oxygen wasn't actually given to these young children, and because of which they perished. So clearly, if there was no lack of oxygen, at least there was lack of understanding or professional compatibility of these doctors who are involved there in the RML hospital in Farrukhabad, which led to the death of these children. So the government finally acknowledges it, and an FIR has actually been registered against the Chief Medical Superintendent and the CMO of the hospital.
Right.
So at least some action being taken by government authorities in this case.
Right. Right, as you're pointing out that the RML hospital, despite repeated attack on the RML hospital by reports by DM, reports by other senior officials, nothing really was done. Isn't it time for the state administration now to look at the healthcare facilities, specifically in these hospitals, and take a very stern action so that such cases do not happen again? Because clearly it seems like they have a free hand to do whatever they want in such cases.
Well, absolutely, because as far as BRD Medical College deaths are concerned, the government had a ready excuse, a ready alibi that these deaths have been caused because these children have actually been brought into advanced stages of their disease, primarily encephalitis, when they are actually brought to the BRD Medical College. But all these conditions do not apply to other government hospitals and facilities across the state. Like, for example, in the Bulandshahr case or in the Farrukhabad case, wherein we saw that these children having been brought to the government hospital because of different reasons had just one reason why they actually died, because of neonatal asphyxia, which clearly states that these deaths have happened because of lack of oxygen supply. Perhaps the doctors were so inefficient that did not find out that oxygen was required to be given to such children who are actually newborns and require oxygen to recoup in the stage that they are in. So this is something that the doctors and seniors actually need to take note of. The government authorities here in Lucknow, the health department, need to get their act together and pull up all such doctors and medical staff and management of these government hospitals. Unless and until they do that, perhaps we won't see good treatment being given out to these poor patients out of all these government hospitals.
Right, absolutely. There is absolutely no value for life, as we can see cases after cases coming to light of medical negligence and children dying because allegedly due to lack of oxygen. First it happened in Gorakhpur, now a similar case happening in Farrukhabad. Thank you so much, Amir, for getting us all those details this morning of that shocking case of medical negligence coming to light from the state of Uttar Pradesh. In fact, the hospital horrors do not really end in the state of Uttar Pradesh. It goes on to even Gujarat, where days after death of 23 children due to lack of oxygen in Gorakhpur rocked the nation, a 9-month-old child allegedly died due to lack of oxygen at a government hospital named Sir Sayaji Rao Gaikwad Hospital of Vadodara. The family members accused the hospital administration and the doctor for the negligence. However, the hospital administration completely denies these accusations.
100% ડોક્ટરે કીધેલું કે નોર્મલ છે કંટ્રોલમાં આવી જશે કાલે 20 હતું સાંજે કીધું 19 થઈ ગયું છે અને સવાર છે ને દૂધ પણ પીધેલું છોકરાએ એટલે અમને પૂરી આશા થઈ ગયેલી કે અમારો છોકરો બચી જશે પણ ઓક્સિજન ના મળવાથી એટલું થઈ ગયું તમે ઓક્સિજન આપ્યું હોત પણ એ તો જિંદગીને મોત ભગવાના પર તમે બેદરકારી ના કરી તો આજે મને દુઃખ ના થાત મને દુઃખ કેટલું બધું થયું અમને અમારા અંગાતે હું મેં સેન કર્યું પણ બીજા બજારા ગરીબ લોકોને કેવી રીતે સેન થશે અને આજે એની માને પૂછે છે કે ત્યાંથી લઈને ખોળામાં નાખીને છોકરાને આવી અને તમે અહીં જરીક વારમાં એવું કરી નાખ્યું
चेंज करने में वक्त नहीं लगा वो तो उसको तो ऑक्सीजन तो मिल ही रहा था लेकिन जो बोतल खोलने में वक्त लगा लेकिन इसमें लेना देना नहीं है बोतल तो उसको कभी भी जरूरत पड़े इसीलिए उन लोगों ने बोतल खोलने की कोशिश की उसमें खोलने में दिक्कत हो गई और टाइम लगा लेकिन इसकी वजह से हुआ ऐसा नहीं उसको तो ऑक्सीजन मिल ही रही था उस टाइम ऑक्सीजन है ऑक्सीजन की कोई ऐसी शॉर्टेज नहीं बिल्कुल शॉर्टेज नहीं.
In fact, joining me on the phone line is President of IMA, Dr. K.K. Agarwal. Good morning, sir. It does not really paint a very good picture of the kind of healthcare that is prevalent in this country. We have seen cases after cases. It started with Gorakhpur. It has gone to Farrukhabad, where a similar case has come to light of oxygen, alleged oxygen supply being cut off. Vadodara, another case they're coming to light. Your first reaction on the kind of cases that are coming to light, and don't you think it is quite alarming to see the healthcare crisis in this country?
I think what we need a paradigm shift in our thinking. This is only a tip of an iceberg. These cases will go on occurring. Mini Gorakhpur are occurring every day. What you are talking about is a mini Gorakhpur occurring all over the country. These will go on unless we change the perception and the paradigm shift in the thinking of the government. Today's thinking is that 1% of the GDP is sufficient, but remember, government is only taking care of 20% of the population. 80% are going to the private sector. And those 80% cannot afford it. So they ultimately go back to the government sector, and the government sector is overloaded. So the first policy of the government, do not refuse admissions in government sector, has to be changed. Do you overcrowd Air India? No. You do not take a single passenger extra in Air India flights. Similarly, in a hospital, not even a single extra patient should be taken. And those patients should be, every government hospital should have one panel, private hospitals, on a predefined rates which government should pay. If the government has a capacity for 100, if there are 150 patients, right, 50 patients should go to private sector and the government should pay. Otherwise,
but Dr. Agarwal, would you?
Yes.
Right, Dr. Agarwal, would you also agree to this? Another case coming to light in Bulandshahr, which clearly reflects the kind of medical apathy there, where the doctor is asking the patient to go and clean a child with severe burns. And then he refuses to attend the child.
If you have a capacity of 100, if you are going to get 300, apathy will come. You need to talk about quality and safety. Like in Air India, hospitals are like Air India. Therefore, government should either increase the budget to 5%, or they have to make sure that all extra patients are referred to the nearest private center in a predefined rate reimbursed by the government. I'm not talking patient should pay. If you want to improve the quality and safety, they need to decongest the hospitals. If decongestion is not going to take place, everybody is going to die. You are not giving 100% care to anybody.
Cases of medical apathy. So what about cases of medical apathy where the doctor himself refuses to admit or refuses to attend to a child?
We are condemning any type of, a medical apathy. I'm not going into that. These are individual cases. I'm talking about the system. The way 3 lakh children in the country are dying before the age of 5 years is a matter of concern. I'm going into a broader picture. I'm not supporting any doctor who is having an apathy, that he has no business to do it. Medical Council of India 2.4 segment very clearly says patient cannot be neglected. But similar to that, we are talking about a broader picture. And the broader picture is the overloading of the hospital has to reduce. Government has to.
But sir, then if you're saying the overloading, Doctors Agarwal, if you're saying the overloading is a cause of concern and that is primarily the reason why the healthcare in this country is crumbling down, especially in these areas, as the president of IMA, what is it that you're suggesting to the government? What is the next step forward to ease out this crisis in this country?
But say, for example, in Gorakhpur, we had suggested why patients are not airlifted, why alarm was not there 7 days in advance, why they did not decongest their beds, why they are admitting 3 patients in 1 bed. So all these questions we are putting a question. We are talking about, if you talk, every patient has a right to receive safe and quality care. You can't say in the government you will not get a quality. Every patient, whether he goes to the government or the private, quality and safety is his concern. And that's Article 21 is constitutional right.
Right, Dr. Agarwal, also another statistics there, and it is again a very worrisome statistics as far as India's performance is concerned. According to the Global Burden of Disease study published in the journal The Lancet this year, India is ranking 154th among 195 countries on healthcare index. How do you think this gap can really be bridged at this point?
Your budget is less than 1% of the GDP, and the government is happy with that 1% GDP because government is only looking after 20% of the society. They are not looking after 80%. The healthcare, 80% is in the private sector, and 80% of the money comes from the consumables and the cost of medicine. Government has not been able to reduce that.
Right, so you think that allocation of budget is going to be a big problem, and that is a reason why most of these issues are really cropping up. If there is a better allocation of budget, and if at all more private players are brought in, can this crisis be solved?
The emergent care and the preventive care is government's responsibility. Tertiary care is not their responsibility. Like people insure themselves for tertiary care, but for an emergent care and preventive care, that should be the priority. And for that, 1% of the budget will only look after 20% of the population. 80% of the population cannot come with 1% of the GDP.
All right, Dr. Agarwal, thank you so much for giving us your perspective on the kind of medical negligence they're coming to light from across the country, the fact that it is time to look into these kind of cases more severely and more seriously so as to come up with a better rate of the healthcare crisis, because a lot of people are really affected by the kind of cases that is coming to light. Well, that's all we have for you in this bulletin right now. Stay tuned to Mirror Now for more news and updates.